Today we're going to talk about the 10 best ways to be a better storyteller when you're closing deals. My name is Michael Barayev, and I was able to build a team of 150 plus sales guys in less than 2.5 years. We did that with zero money invested, and now we have a solar company that's growing like crazy from coast to coast, like butter on toast. So one of the things that I realized is that in order for you to close customers, you have to have good storytelling skills, right? And today we're going to talk about those skills, and I'm going to give you guys 10 tips on how to be a better storyteller, because if you learn how to talk about your personal story, a story, whatever it may be, it can make the customer feel emotionally attached to making a decision on what's best for them and their family, right? So stories are amazing because they help people connect better, right? People think in images, people think in stories, people like to hear about other people's situations and other people's lives and stuff like that. So when you talk about a story, you have to get good at making sure the story is not boring, making sure that people don't fall asleep in your story, and that they have some kind of connection towards that story, right? So tip number one, what I would recommend is you always want to start with a hook. Like, always start with a crazy fact, crazy thing. Hook them into the idea of listening and paying attention to your story. For example, like I would say sometimes, hey, when I was 19 years old, I was lost in the sauce. From 0 to 19, my life was a crazy nightmare, right? You're like, and now you're hooked. I'm like, okay, well, how was your life from 0 to 19? A nightmare, right? So you hook them with a crazy concept by saying, wow, it's a crazy fact, a crazy situation, and then you can start into your story, okay? Number two, you gotta know your audience. Tailor the story so that the people can relate better to that information. Like, if I see a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds, it's a great time for me to talk about my story when I started at 19. If I see a married couple, I may talk about when I first met my loved one, my fiance, right? So you gotta know how to relate better and know your audience. Know exactly what's gonna make them tick and be interested in what you're talking about. Don't talk to a 7-year-old couple about how you were lost in the sauce at 19 and you were trying to get a Lamborghini. Like, they don't care about that. You got to know what the audience wants, right? The 7-year-old couple is not thinking about a Lamborghini. They're thinking about security, stability, what's going to happen to my home when I pass away. They're thinking about their grandchildren, their legacy. That's what you want to talk about. So you have to understand that when you're talking about a story, talk about the right stories and know your audience, right? So you can relate better. Number three, show, don't tell. And what that basically means is use descriptive language, right? Make the story juicy with adjectives. Paint the picture, because people need to see that vivid imagery so they can relate a little bit better. So use descriptive words, use words with adjectives so they can make it understand that it's a powerful story that can make them tick emotionally, right? Number four, use emotions. We just talked about that, right? But a little bit. Use emotions. Tap into their inner connections and talk about emotions that a lot of people don't like to talk about. Anger, fear, right? Happiness, which a lot of people talk about, but why? Talk about joy. Talk about all these different emotions and make them part of the story. A lot of people just talk about their story thinking that everyone should love their story. No, no, no. Connect your story with their story, with the emotions, right? Number five, be relatable. We talked about that with knowing your audience, but number five is about being relatable and making their story relatable to them, 100%. We just covered that, okay? Number six, make it personal. That's a big one. A lot of you guys talk about stories and you don't make it personal. Make them attached to it. I want people to either feel a lot of pain during the story or to feel a lot of pleasure. One or the other. Because those are two most powerful indicators for someone to create action. When someone has a lot of pain, for example, you put your hand on a hot stove, you don't want to touch that stove. Your body's like, take it off, right? Or in pleasure, nobody wants to walk away from playing a video game for a couple hours. You're enjoying it. Nobody wants to walk away from an amazing day they have with their friends and family because it's pleasurable, right? So people are motivated by pain or by pleasure, and you want to give them a reason to pay attention to you, right? So make it personal. Number seven, practice. Right? Talk about your story to yourself. Look into the mirror. Practice it with other people. Don't just say the story once, right? And also, don't make up shit in the story. Make sure the story is real. And the more vivid it is for you, the more real it is to you, the more you can express it with the right emotion, which will trickle down to them, right? Next, number eight, vary your delivery. How you deliver the message is extremely important. Your pauses, your enunciations, your gesticulations, right? Which is your body language, right? Your tone, your volume, the dynamics of your voice. Change it up a little bit. Don't keep it the same. Don't have a monotone, a conversation. Make it dynamic. Make it engaging, right? I would also ask a lot of questions. Vary the delivery by just saying a story and say, hey, did that ever happen to you? Like, maybe you could say, hey, listen, I was 19 years old and I was talking to a customer, blah, 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 and they said this to me. Did that ever happen to you, Mr. Customer? Right? So you're creating that story and actually engaging with them, right? Next, number nine, this is powerful. Use visuals, right? Have some stuff that you can show people. Don't just be blabbing your mouth. Have a PowerPoint, presentation, slicks, whatever it may be. Show them data, show them information so they can actually connect with your story. Maybe show them a picture of yourself when you were 19, right? As an example, right? Talk about yourself. Give people a lot of things to look at physically, right? And number 10, always with a story, have a call to action. Always have a call to action. Don't just say the story and then expect them to be on a cliff. Because what ends up happening, if you don't give them a call to action, they're going to jump off that cliff and nothing's going to happen, right? You want to get into the cliff and then say, hey, here's the parachute. Here, this is how you open it. Bang, right? And you sell them your product or your service. So it's very important to engage with your customers when you're talking about stories and utilize all the emotions possible, because stories create emotions. Stories create connectivity. Stories create relatability. And when you do so the right way, it makes them bond with you better. And people want to do business with people that they like, trust, and respect. And by talking about your story, by talking about a story, they will connect and want to do business with you. My name is Michael Barayev. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for following our content. If you have not subscribed yet to the channel, do me a solid, subscribe to the channel. Click the little notification bell so you can get notified every time we post videos, which is every single day and every single week. And then we can see you guys at 100,000 subscribers. And we'll see you guys in the next video.